On the show today, we have a special engagement with Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy, Onanuga. Mr. Onanuga recently published a thought-provoking article challenging President of the AFDB, Akinwumi Akinshina's claims about Nigeria's economic progress since independence. Thanks for joining us on the program this evening, Mr. Onanuga.
Yeah, thank you very much for inviting me.
All right, let's begin with the Nigeria First policy that mandates that all government procurements prioritize locally made goods. Given our history of poor enforcement of similar policies like the Local Content Act, what specific mechanisms will this administration implement to ensure compliance?
Well, I think it depends on the construction of the executive order. The president has asked the Attorney General to come up with an executive order that will encapsulate the policy. So, and I think this time around, this thing has been coming on and off. Government, trying to enforce a local content policy, but I think it has been short on implementation. I'm sure Mr. President wants to implement it this time around, wants to give it some teeth, because already he said there will be sanctions if the bureaucrats fail to comply with the executive order that is coming. So I think we should wait for the executive order. It will spell out, all the ramifications about this local content policy, the need for us to patronize what we do, what we produce in Nigeria, the need for us to buy homemade goods, and so on. And already some of the policies of the president indicate where this kind of executive what it will do. I think last year we launched the credit card. The whole purpose that if you are going for credit, if you want to borrow money from the credit card, it must be that you want to use that money to buy made in Nigerian goods. So they are all complementary. So I said, let's wait for the executive order. I'm sure it will about what the whole thing will be about.
But while the policy aims to boost domestic industries, critics already argue that some Nigerian-made goods struggle to meet international quality benchmarks. Are you privy to how government intends to address the potential trade-offs between enforcing local procurement and maintaining quality, especially in critical sectors like healthcare and infrastructure?
I don't agree with you. I've come across many products made in Nigeria. If you try to make a visit to our local supermarkets, you find a lot of products on the shelf made in this country. Very high quality. They can be sold anywhere in the world. I think we have overcome the problem of quality. And Nigerian manufacturers, either in food processing or in hardcore manufacturing, they are showing out very high quality goods. So I don't think quality will be a problem.
All right, we'll see how it goes. We're counting on your optimism and see the details of that executive order. Dr. Adesina, the outgoing president of the African Development Bank, claimed Nigeria's GDP per capita dropped from $1,800+ in 1960 to $824 today, suggesting that Nigerians are worse off. You countered that 1960 per capita wasn't the figure he quoted. I think you said it was $93. And you also cited oil-driven growth in the 1970s up until 2014. But beyond GDP metrics, Mr. Onanuga, what tangible indicators prove that Nigerians are better off today than in 1960, given that many Nigerians still feel economic hardship?
Well, even in the 1960s, Nigerians felt economic hardship. Things have not been rosy for people in our country, so it's not that we are facing hardship now. Is nothing new. So let us emphasize that. What I tried to do was to debunk the statement by Dr. Adesina that GDP in 1960 was 1,247. I said there was nothing like that, and that it was much, far lower than he quoted. And I tried to, it was not just I didn't want to correct him. I gave him all the respect, and I tried to say this is what the data that we have says, that is below $100, just $93, according to all kinds of the data available to us. And the second objection that I raised was that his conclusion was wrong. You cannot say that because GDP has fallen, quoting some IMF and World Bank figures that GDP has fallen, and then you say because of that, life in 1960 was better than life now, or living standard then was better than living standard now. It's not correct. It can't be correct.
All right. Please hold that thought for a minute. We're going to take a short break, and we'll continue this conversation right after. Stay with us, everyone. Special Advisor to President Bola Tinubu on Information and Strategy, Bayo Onanuga, thank you for staying the course on the program this evening. So you talked about the need to correct Dr. Adesina, and you went ahead to say that he didn't do due diligence before making his unverifiable statement. But you didn't stop at that. You said he spoke like a politician in the mode of Peter Obi. Is there a sense to which you consider him a political threat? Because Dr. Adesina has always been known in the development sphere on the continent.
Well, political threat? I don't think so. As I said, I was surprised that he made what I would consider as a non sequitur kind of argument or kind of conclusion. In Latin, we say it doesn't follow that because GDP has fallen in 2025, so per capita income has fallen in 2025, does not mean that life necessarily was better in 1960 than now. That was the point I was making. And as I said, as a politician, I don't consider Dr. Akumi a threat to our president or to our political party. That was not my intention.
Let's quickly touch on the many narratives that now follow Mr. President's policies. For instance, how do you reconcile his bold reforms with high inflation? I'm sure you heard the Catholic Bishops' Conference of Nigeria in March accusing the government of worsening hardship. How do you respond to critics who say hardship, insecurity, and youth unemployment have reached disturbing levels despite recent government reforms, even under this administration?
I have listened to some critics. Many of them are not being sincere about the kind of criticism that they give. People have to look back. What did this president inherit before coming out to attack the government, criticize the government? What did we inherit? Where were we when this government took over in May 2023? So they have to, if you start from there, then you can begin to situate how we should reference this government, whatever we want to say about this government, we're taking our departure from 2023 May. 2023 May, if Nigerians recall, there was fuel scarcity in this country, 2023 May. The NNPC that was providing fuel for the entire country was already groaning under financial hardship. It could no longer, it was actually, as NNPC was saying then, giving out fuel that it was importing free, virtually free to Nigerians. It was not recovering its costs and so on. And subsidy, the government was owing NNPC a lot of money, so NNPC didn't have money to continue to import. So Mr. President did the right thing by removing that albatross from our neck on day one, that we can no longer sustain this unsustainable subsidy. So that was the first thing he did, to bring us back to reality about the problems our country is facing. And he went on, we are subsidizing the dollar. People are buying dollar at a very cheap rate. We were even discouraging exporters to bring in their money to the country. So we said, no, we cannot continue again on this journey, this kind of journey. Let us flow the naira. Let the naira get its real value. So that's where we are. Of course, those two policies, they will throw off certain consequences. Mm-hmm. And the flip side is that with those two policies, this country has been recording many successes, many. We've seen our revenue jumping up, getting to very high level, unprecedented in this country. In this first quarter of this year, for instance, this country made 6 trillion naira. First quarter of this year alone, 6 trillion. and they indicated that we're going to record more success in that area. This country has recorded balance of payment surplus. Last year, it was over $6 billion. This country, under this president, we have done so many things. I said we have recorded balance of payment surplus. The economy is growing.
All right. Let me jump in quickly because we're counting down to midterm for this administration. And I love the figures you have read out, but Nigerians will also tell you where the shoe pinches. It's important that they feel it. And I guess we're going to hear from them to perhaps in the course of this program to also probe your position on some of these matters. But there are other issues that have been raised as regards the perception of this administration. Recent political tensions have fueled concerns about ethnic marginalization. So we heard President Tinubu emphasize unity, but some groups feel excluded from key appointments and policies. The Northern Elders Forum recently voiced strong concerns over what it perceives as an unfair pattern of federal appointments made by this administration. How is the administration ensuring equitable representation across all regions? Is this a concern for President Tinubu?
Let me just answer that with the fact that some years ago, just a minute, please. Under Buhari presidency, Nigerians raised the issue that President Buhari was giving appointments to a section of the country. But when the figures came out, it proved otherwise. The figures showed that that was not the case. And it showed that the most appointments went to the southwest of Nigeria under Buhari presidency. As we are talking now, in our country today, we are putting together all the figures to really show whether it is true, the allegation they are making against the president, that he has given out lopsided appointments. We need to attack it with figures. And we are putting the figures together to really show Nigerians who got which appointment.
Quickly, let us touch on politics. The mass defection. The mass defection, Mr. Onanuga, if you can hear me, because I can see you talk, but I can't hear you from here. But the mass defection of the entire PDP structure in Delta State has got everyone talking. In fact, it sent shock down the spine of the entire nation for a state that has been traditionally PDP from 1999 to now go the way of the APC. And I'm sure you've heard the allegation that President Tinubu is orchestrating what they call a systemic plan to weaken opposition parties and entrench a one-party state in Nigeria. How do you respond to that?
That's a lie. People just sit down, contrive all manners of rumors and so on, and throw it against the president. No, it's not true. Ask Mr. Sheriff, the governor of Delta, whether he was under any threat or under any blackmail to cross over from PDP to APC. It's not true. Those who are joining the APC are joining APC on their own volition. Even today in Edo State, the PDP lost many officials, House of Assembly and National Assembly and so on. They cross over to APC. You see, they are seeing things that you people are not seeing, that journalists are not seeing, that political distractions are not seeing. They are seeing some value in APC, and that's why they are crossing over. There's something that APC is doing, that this president is doing very well, that people are seeing. And that's why they are joining APC, because they feel that the APC has very good programs, and the APC will take Nigeria to greater heights, and this president has been doing the past 2 years.
But Mr. Onanuga, we are hearing that 5 more PDP governors are going to join your party. Does that bother you? Because in this conversation, you have talked about what the situation was before President Tinubu came to power, and you were referring to PDP government. Your party's ideology what does it say about your party's ideology, saying that you have blamed the PDP, the PDP's years of leadership as being responsible largely for the country's economic and political woes, but they are the same people that APC is cutting now? Help us make it make sense to Nigerians.
No. Is APC cutting them? The people, as I said, are joining APC out of their own volition.
But if their ideology doesn't align with yours, you can say, no, we are not going to receive you, right?
No. If the more the merrier, if people join your party, the better for that party. They are strengthening you in readiness for the next election. So it's not a matter of people, the APC saying, we are not going to admit you. If people voluntarily join APC will welcome them. APC will welcome defectors at any time to join the party. So that's what you are saying. All these things where people are saying that we are threatening people, we are with TFCC or blackmailing them, there's no truth whatsoever in all those allegations. They're just mere rumors.
I want to quickly get your reaction before we go to Pastor Tade Bakari's position that Mr. President is promoting what he calls a motor park style of politics that has allegedly destroyed political institutions. Quickly, how do you react to that?
I don't understand what the pastor meant by that. I don't understand what he meant. This government is running a government based on a credible program. We have a manifesto, and that is what this president is implementing. I don't understand what he means by motor park kind of politics. No, there's nothing like that. That is Pastor Bakari's opinion, and I think he's wrong on that. Very, very wrong on that.
Mr. Onanuga is Special Advisor to the President on Information and Strategy. Thank you so much for talking to us on the program today.
Thank you.
Well, that's our show today, everyone. You can watch it again at midnight and at 6 a.m. tomorrow. I am Nifemi Oguntoye.